How's it? Chilling here. Skibenga. Yeah, say hi, Skibenga. Skibenga. Say hi. Say hi to the camera. You see yourself. Yeah. Clearly, he doesn't want to say hi to you. You are not worth the fuss. Wow. This is actually kind of weird. Standing in front of a camera or sitting and talking to yourself, right? It's the craziest thing ever. But imagine if you thought about it in the context of taking your thoughts out and actually having a dialogue with them. Because what I find interesting, and the main reason I even did this, was that visual language or anything that you do through the senses, like see, touch, feel, is happening all at the same time in the mind. And a video or film, rather, or just documenting something, Ganje, has all those elements in it. Yeah, so I'm basically using this as an archive, or an archive for my thoughts, documenting them and journaling basically, because I find it interesting that the most accurate history books are journals of people, and I'm exploring ideas or principles versus narratives, where facts versus narratives, ideologies versus science, and how easy it is for us as people to just miss that. And I think that we're living in an age that is cap. It's like so theater. All of us are, struggling to be authentically ourselves because of the things that we've learned, have been taught or seen or think are right. That even investigating morality, it's a very hard thing to do when you base facts and behaviors and pin them against the ideas surrounding that. So I'm doing that for myself, and it's weird to me to have conversations every time, let's say, when speaking about documenting, speaking about narrative, speaking about just how great minds have hacked reality objectively. How close can you get to objective reality? And I was mentioning right now even about documenting Michelangelo, realizing that people always have narratives or views, or just follow keywords and not the concept of things, with and then mix things up, and that happens like automatically with humans, and that's why being present is so key. And I'm even getting to a position as well of working towards being objectively accurate about the world. That's where science comes in. I found it so crazy. We will see Isaac Newton, Zioni, like what is that? And just the behind the scenes of who the guy was versus now the principles that we follow of gravity and all of that. And so it's really the science of being alive, and the things that we're taught sort of are one slice of the pizza and an 8-slice pizza, I guess. And it's realizing that you might think that religion is morally objective, but that's the idea. And when you look at the history, the facts, the data points, it's hard to come back at that. Yeah, but so I just went into a bender here of how I'm being objectively myself and creating an ecosystem around that, because it's really so interesting that we can agree on certain things that don't really agree with us on a spiritual level, and find it hard even to have an observer view of ourselves in that. And that's why I've been referencing a lot of nature in my spiritual outlook, where nature is super objective. Like, the soil doesn't choose to give nutrients to or discriminates against what to give nutrients to. Water doesn't do that as well. The sun is just there for everyone, and it's like all of us take what is wired within us to take and can take, or plants do that as well. They take according to their true nature, and that's why they grow like this, and they're in perfect harmony. And everything, animals, all of it is in perfect harmony because they're not conscious, or they are conscious. Let me say they are conscious, but not to the point of recreating views of the objective world. You know, that's how economics works, like law. I would see there were laws that would say, yeah, you black, you're not supposed to be here. And it's like telling the wind to stop here and curve, or the soil to say, hey, don't give nutrients to that, or you know, like, so those are objective versus subjective things now that you see in nature, versus laws, versus all the principles that we subscribe to as humans that are unnatural to us, you know, super unnatural. And so I've been looking at things like that, and it's been infuriating to see how distant I am from what is objective in my mind versus what I live out. And that's the human dilemma as well, because I found it really interesting. With dating also, we have like a specific culture that is so abnormal, where like you have exes, for instance, and exes in some circles or some cultures or some behaviors where it's not something that you even speak about with your partner and even engage further with yourself. It's like gents always have a script, and everyone agrees, and guys or women have a script against men as well, like the XYZ, misogynist, you know, patriarchal, and all of that, and we can all agree, and that's just surface level. But we tend to meet our shadows with the people that we get intimate with. And imagine if we were all to be neutral and just go through all of those motions, because now then we'd be able to meet ourselves in a like very intricate way or intimate way. I remember getting or doing an experiment on myself where I was getting super drunk, super drunk to the point of unconsciousness, and hoping that I'd have a pen close by, but I didn't systemize it or orchestrated well enough, but I got some gems. But I wanted to trick myself if I get unconsciously drunk and I document some parts of that. Because you know that generally when someone's out of it, they never, or they generally don't want to admit that they're that person, and even the circles around them are like, "Aibo, you were so, who was that?" And it's like, "Hi, but uchwala." And if we scientifically look at it, or look at it from a principles perspective, you'd say that there's something there, that's still a part of you. That's still one part of the pizza of yourself that you can ignore, which shouldn't be ignored. And that's how we end up being on autopilots as humanity, based on cultures, based on etiquette, based on respect. Respect is, I found, such a gimmick. It's theater. Everyone acts it out. Everyone acts it out. And next thing I'll say, chats. You're a parent at that. You whatever. Yabo. And that was quite interesting for me. And you can observe all these things happening and people really believing that they have respect. Whereas you look at the principles of respect, no, that's not it. But then we have an idea as people, and that's why you can gossip about someone who's just there, whom you respect, because that's the idea carrying yabo what respect is. And yeah, I'm trying to get to a neutral part of that. I don't want to be moved by anything, because I've seen even in the workplace where if I can see that you're flustered by this and cannot maintain yourself to a point of stepping back and seeing, hey, what's happening here, and being present and following the script, I can use you. And that's even everyday life, even in the dating scene, whatever. And that's like psychology where that comes in. And when I was reading up on Young, I was like, why aren't people like taught this from kids instead? It saved me so much, just like reading Friedrich Nietzsche, where I felt I was going crazy. But it's like, damn, yeah, people are subjective narrative builders and work off of that, and that's why people can be tricked and no one wants to step back. There's the shadow part of you, there's the personality, there's specific archetypes that we embody as people also, where you act out the archetype of being a boyfriend, and someone could just miss all the cues of who you are because you're enacting that archetype well, and even vice versa. And it's just like we're not natural as nature would have it, in a way, and we're all in this dream as a society. And that's why advertising is an industry. That's why so many things exist that we just ignore as people. Like in a political sense, we experience hardship. There's like basic, why are we fighting for human rights, and some people don't get to experience that, and it's tiered as well, and all of those things. So beyond just chatting about it, I'm trying to make sense out of like psychology, history, and where I am in that, like in my personal context. And I feel that we as people should excavate that, let's find out what's the goal, because I was listening to Umesh Beats, no Aries, was it Natato Soul? Was it? Yeah, but at there's a secret frequency and you tune into it. And like that's the type of frequency I've been wanting to understand. Would say dreams can speak to you and are super contextual. And everyone has that. While dreams are religion, or something like that. There's just certain facts of life that we're way more than we give them, and there's other things that way less that we venerate so hard. Yeah, but so I respect the realm of nothingness, the realm of creativity and the realm of spirits. Can't say spirit to demystify it, but the realm of like imagination. Because taking a drug, I'm not a druggie or whatever, but a drug also, because now imagine the stigma that's aligned with that, but we could say that a drug is anything pharmaceutical. And you have to believe that it will work for you so that it will work. That's why there's something called placebos. Yeah, but so placebo is basically me giving you a sugar or a pill that does nothing, basically like a sweet, and saying that's a panado, and if you believe that, that will work. So even when you don't believe that the drug will work, you go through hard time, and that's even with recreational, spiritual, whatever drugs. Sometimes, let's say shrooms, for instance, where if you don't believe what's happening, you'll have a bad trip because now you'll be running away from dragons where you should be like, hey buddies, whatever. And I feel like life is like that as well, just that now there's other elements that we have to entertain other people for. It's like almost what's these arenas that we love watching? It's like Rome, the Colosseum, where people are fighting, all of that. Like someone's watching us do that. There's different tiers, I think. And so yeah, the imagined world, even for us, like life, I think for us is the drug where all the ideas you have in your head are it, and you have to believe them and put them out, and that's the realm of imagination. The way I came up with Suave was, it was just in my head where I'm like, okay, I want clothes I want to make clothes. I think it would be cheaper making them than buying a Guess jeans for 500. Imagine like a 500 Guess jean is like the standard one. Everyone's wearing it, and it's tiered, and then you get into the premiums, and that's way better. But it's almost like the same thing, same staple, whatever. And I wanted to do something way cheaper and give it also to people for way cheaper, like socioeconomic factors, bro. But and experience quality for a decent price. Cause it was like, damn, that's actually kind of a rip-off, because imagine man just get or work and you have to change, not wearing uniform anymore, and the pressure is like higher to actually change.